Hey, did you guys see that a new sauropod was discovered in Tanzania? It's really cool, and it's called,
You can't make this easy, can you?
Hello everyone! This is Sorry and Target welcoming you back to the second part of our Carnivores Modern Days showcase. If you somehow found this video first and missed part 1, I'd recommend checking it out first. There's a link at the end of this video and in the description if you're interested. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the mixed up format for this showcase. I'm trying to do something a little different with the mod showcases, and I kinda wanted this one to test the waters and just see how it went. I had an absolute blast putting it all together, even if it took me roughly 4.5 billion years to finish it, and I sincerely apologize to you guys for just how long you've had to wait for this showcase. I feel really bad for that, so in addition to the actual cinematic showcase, I wanted to take some time to briefly review the mod and get a little more in-depth on my actual thoughts with a more traditional review section. And be sure to let me know what you guys think of Carnivores Modern Days down in the comments section. I always love to hear your thoughts. And also, if you haven't actually played Modern Days yet, but you want to after seeing this review or showcase or just want to in general, there is a download link for you in the description. Because this mod is so old, I do believe you will need the original Carnivores Ice Age to play it, so I'll leave a link to the original Ice Age down there as well. Now, as a lot of you guys know, Modern Days is a personal favorite Carnivores mod of mine, mostly because it's just so quaint. It's a reskin mod that harkens back to a simpler, more nostalgic time of Carnivores modding, when all we could do was put new textures on all the vanilla models and assets, and let our imaginations fill in the gaps. Jindos's Iguanodon and Rex Hunter's Revolver hadn't even been created yet. But because of just how old yet ambitious it is, Modern Days does have quite a few issues that simply do not hold up by today's standards of modding. Nitpicky as it may be, what I personally think really hurts Modern Days is the significant lack of polish on the menu designs and descriptions. Now, first off, just to clarify, this mod was never trying to be a lore-heavy, extended canon addition to the Carnivores mythology, and it lets you know that right out of the gate. It was just intended to be a fun, simple, light-hearted mod to hop in and play for a bit. But so was Carnivores Migration, and I think because of that, where Carnivores Migration took its self-contained role seriously enough to be thorough while retaining that cynical, tongue-in-cheek vibe, Modern Days just feels kinda lazy by comparison. It doesn't take itself seriously in the I don't care kinda way. Now, Modern Days has hints of that snarky self-awareness in there, but a lot of it is lost in a rather unpolished feel. The menus go from too bland to too busy. I do like the concept here, but this image is just so overwhelming, and the photorealism kinda clashes with the actual in-game assets. For the location descriptions, there's no rich blend of incorporating what animals are found in the environment, along with information about the environment. Like, for example, the Rocky Mountains of Colorado provide hunters with an abundance of challenging terrain, from steep mountain peaks to vast plateaus and dense forests. Hiding within the diverse landscape live a plethora of North American wildlife, including black bear, Rocky Mountain elk, and bobcat. See, only 2 sentences and we've already established the location and what you can find there. The actual animal information isn't much better. It's neither informative nor helpful. Sometimes the wrong animal is listed, and sometimes this is all you get. The weapon info is pretty much all vanilla Carnivores weapon descriptions, and for some reason, most of the descriptions are all crowded over on the left side of the info space. Like they're afraid to venture over to the right border and actually fill in the space provided and look good. Fleshing them out with proper spacing would look so much more professional and engaging in my opinion. There's also an unfortunate handful of elements that remain completely unchanged from the base game. The credits haven't even been touched, and the trophy room and trophy ship are just the vanilla Ice Age versions, which, even back then when this mod first came out, was bad. Seeing the trophy room have fun with the whole hunting cabin aesthetic would have been great, and although adding helicopters as trophy ships just became a very recent possibility, a little bit of customization on the trophy ship would have helped immensely. The main menu music is also literally just the default Carnivores Ice Age music, which doesn't fit the theme of the mod at all. You know, I noticed that several images and sound effects for this mod have been pulled from other hunting sims to give it its outdoorsy feel, and what I personally think would have really helped is to use some more thematically appropriate menu music from other hunting sims, like Deer Hunter 5's. In fact, Deer Hunter 5 has about 4 country fried hunting themes, any of which would have been just perfect for this mod. And it just feels like such a glaring oversight that could have easily helped establish the tone and feel for this mod. Now, I know all of this might seem like very trivial and nitpicky criticism to some, and I can totally understand that. But it's the menu's job to introduce you to the world, the animals, tease the story, get you in the right mindset, and just get you excited to start playing the mod. And Modern Days just doesn't do that well in my opinion. There are parts of it that feel lazy so that you won't take it seriously, but then there are parts that have so much thought and effort put in that it's frustrating by comparison how much you do want to take it seriously. Like the custom textured menu boxes and trophy kiosks, or the hunting cabin themed menu pictures. It's like it's trying to have its cake and eat it too. I don't want to sound so unfairly harsh on a mod that was never trying to be, the next Carnivores Triassic. Joke mods are fine, but I think they still need to put forth the effort to hook you in and make you want to play, and that's really where I think Modern Days struggles. Although they are just reskins of vanilla Carnivores 2 and Ice Age maps, I really do enjoy the hunting zones in Modern Days, for the most part. Colorado and Alaska in particular are each beautiful, with the deep oranges and reds of Colorado's autumn forests, and the gorgeous, flowery taigas of an Alaskan summer, easily painting my favorite maps in the mod. I love watching the animals hunt or graze in the tall grass. It feels so immersive and alive. I suppose my least favorite map would be the North Pole, as it's just a treeless, dry-notice lake. A map where the trees were the most interesting part. It just feels kinda like a bland, boring, and anticlimactic finale. Another critique I have with the map choices is that, in its attempt to be so grand and expansive, the mod just feels stretched thin. Modern Days covers most of planet Earth for its locales, from Colorado to Africa to Alaska and the North Pole. But because the old Ice Age engine can only hold like 10 huntable animals, with 5 locations, that's roughly 2 animals per map, and that makes each map feel painfully hollow and void of life. This also creates the problem of encountering random spawn animals in places they really shouldn't be, like a polar bear on an African savanna or a white rhinoceros at the North Pole. I do love the idea of area-specific animals, but for just how the Carnivores engine works, it's a tad too ambitious of an idea to pull off effectively here. Maybe turning Modern Days into a series of mods, each focused around a specific area like Alaska or Botswana, featuring the different biomes and animals found within those areas, would have been a more immersive, if time-consuming, approach. The animals, however reskinned they may be, I actually find kinda fantastic. Now, would new, custom models or a more tightly focused animal roster have been preferred? Of course. But if you can narrow your focus and just observe each animal in its intended habitat, it really is kinda beautiful. The skins are also surprisingly accurate to the canon style, featuring textures and patterns that would feel right at home in an official Carnivores game. I genuinely like the grizzly bear and gray wolf skins here better than their Ice Age counterparts, although that isn't saying much. There are also a couple of surprise DLC animals hidden within the game's files that I didn't even know about until I started this showcase: the red fox and the fallow deer. Now, they don't come with any custom calls or menu pictures or anything, so I'm not sure if they are actually intended to be DLC or if they're just leftovers from some earlier ideas for the mod. But whether or not they are, they quickly became some of my favorite animals in the mod. This makes a lot more sense now. Limited species per location and inappropriate random spawns aside, perhaps my biggest gripe with the animals is the predator calls. Most of the carnivores use actual predator calls, which simulate the sound of a wounded or dying prey animal. Now, this is a great concept, but when the animals have to reply with the same calls the hunter makes, it not only breaks immersion to hear a bear reply with a high-pitched death squeal, but it gets really annoying after a while. One thing I do really appreciate about the mod is how low of a score each animal provides per kill. The high-end animals might give 5 points, most animals give about 2 to 3 points, and some animals actually give 0 points per kill. This encourages hunters to disable the equipment and use tranquilizers when hunting to accumulate as many points as possible, which correlates surprisingly well with real life. On a big game safari, hunters don't make money when they down an animal. There's no godlike radar out in the bush, and it encourages players to take the humane route and use their imagination in creating different reasons and scenarios for their hunts. As reskins of the vanilla Carnivores weapons, the weapons in modern days are fun and effective, and the mod finds some interesting ways to customize old weapons with unique twists. And let me just say, custom camo sleeves are never a bad thing. There's, of course, your basic pistol and shotguns, standard fare at this point, although these skins do feature some incredible attention to detail based on the real firearms. But there are some notable standouts. The Benelli R1 is probably my favorite weapon in the game, simply because it's replaced the standard C2 rifle's obnoxious iron sight with a much cleaner and more functional one. The pump rifle is a nice way to disguise one weapon as another and provide some really unique and engaging gunplay. The sniper's bolt-action reload after each shot makes it feel more like its real-life counterpart, and the recurve bow, the one new asset in the mod, feels like a very challenging but ironically appropriate and satisfying final weapon. Most of the firearms also have new sound effects pulled from other hunting sims to sound like their real-life counterparts, and they all sound appropriately weak or powerful. The menus even suggest specific weapons for specific animals, which adds another layer to the mod's great ideas and real-world references. How cool would it be to give point bonuses or deductions depending on the weapon you use to take down an animal? A guy can dream, I guess. Despite all of the critiques and corrections, this is one of my personal favorite Carnivores mods. It's such a simple yet unique premise. It is overambitious, I feel so bad for it. It has such great ideas, but its reach far extends its grasp. And over time, it definitely feels its age, but for how unique it is among Carnivores mods, I definitely think it's worth checking out. However, it's not one of my favorite Carnivores mods because of the maps or animals or weapons, although I do enjoy those aspects. I adore it for what it represents. All of the official Carnivores games, and pretty much all of the mods, either take place on or focus on the dinosaur planet of FMMUV32, the place we love and where it all began. And the community has done a phenomenal job of fleshing out that world created by Action Forms over 20 years ago. But eventually, we are going to run out of planet space and prehistoric creatures. And I don't think we're close to that. This is like planning way ahead for the future. But I mean, without completely jumping the shark, I think there is only so much we should be able to do with this singular planet. Now, there are alternate timelines and canons or cycles or whatever the kids are calling it these days, but at some point, we gotta know when to call it. However, that's not a bad thing. Knowing when to call it quits preserves quality. I'd hate to see the current world of carnivores as we know it become like a certain unnamed TV show that's gone on for way too long, overstayed its welcome, rehashed all its good ideas, just done worse in a desperate attempt to stay relevant, while simultaneously destroying the characters and places we've come to know and love, when it should have ended before the downward spiral of post-season 3 and ruined any goodwill anyone had toward the show. Although, aside from Ink Lemonade, I hear seasons 10 and 11 are actually decent, but that's a low bar compared to seasons 1 through 3. Anyway, Carnivores Modern Days, even if just in concept, introduces us to Dino Hunt Corp's different divisions across the galaxy. Now, FMMUV-32 is what started all of this. It was, of course, the first, and I feel its presence and legacy should be treated with the deserving respect we give it. But I almost feel like we limit Dino Hunt Corp's reach and the possibilities that lie within if all we do is make it seem like the dinosaur planet is all they have. I mean, this is FMMUV-32, which heavily implies that there were at least 31 other planets discovered by that one spaceship. Who knows how many others are out there, waiting to be discovered. As overambitious as our extended lore has made them out to be, I personally find it difficult to believe that Dino Hunt Corp just sat on this singular planet, when there's who knows what else out there. I mean, they disastered a galactic traveling zoo and then built a monster from alien nukes. They're ambitious and risky, and that's why they're great. When total conversion modding became possible and I was still just lurking around in the Saga forums so many years ago, watching the game literally change in front of me with the creation of new maps, models, and total conversion mods, I, like so many others, devised my own wishful concepts of mods that I, or someone like-minded, might make someday. And one of those was a mod based on the Alien Planet documentary or expedition book by Wayne Barlow, set on Darwin 4 and featuring the iconic landscapes and aliens featured in those media. Silly as that may seem in hindsight, it kind of introduced me to the idea that Dino Hunt Corp could eventually branch out. Not leave FMMUV-32 behind completely like that might imply, but add to their divisions and the endless possibilities that come with that. And now, Modern Days hints at that concept as well, showing Dino Hunt Corp expanding their division list, growing, diversifying, and, of course, increasing their profits. A new Dino Hunt tour, a perfect opportunity for people to take the Carnivores formula and get creative and innovative without the restraints of the canon style or trying to shove as much as possible onto one planet. I don't know, I might be in the minority on this one, but I think it would be so interesting and creative to see Dino Hunt Corp's other tours across the galaxy, to different planets with different alien animals. I know I often say the possibilities are endless when referring to what we as the community can do with these games, and I think that is best exemplified in this concept. To get out there, get creative, explore, discover. Not to undermine the community's past, because we have absolutely done those things already. But, in the opinion of some random guy on the internet, perhaps this is the future of Dino Hunt Corp, of Carnivores, and if so, I welcome its creative possibilities with open arms. Alright, so there you go guys, we have finally covered Modern Days as thoroughly as possible. But man, it took a long time to get here, didn't it? And in light of just how long it took me to get this showcase to you guys, I have two announcements regarding the state of the channel. Number one, I will no longer be announcing release dates for videos. Unless I have a video completely done and rendered and exported and uploaded, so all I have to do is press publish, I'm not going to be giving any release dates for future videos. I feel really bad for always saying, I'll have this video ready by this date, and then that date arrives and it's not ready. I know that's disappointing for you guys, and I'm really sorry for being so consistently inconsistent. So from now on, videos will be ready when they're ready. And if I ever do slip up and say, I'll have this video ready by this date, feel free to digitally slap my wrist. And number 2. Well, firstly, do you guys know how many mod showcases we had in 2018? 0. We didn't have a single mod showcase last year. The Modern Day Showcase was supposed to be the follow-up to the Carnivores Migration Showcase back in 2017, and it took me 1 year and 6 months to finally get it together. That is inexcusable, honestly, and I am so sorry for taking so long to finally get this showcase to you guys. But this may be the unfortunate reality of how the channel is now, because as much as I love working on videos for you guys, it's not my job, it's just a hobby. As some of you guys know, I'm working a new job that, instead of your typical 8 to 5 workday, is very much project-based, which means I work on it all day as much as I can until it's done. And if one project doesn't do so well, I have to pick up a second or third project to cover it, because bills and food and such, you guys know how it is. And all of that combined with eating and sleeping and exercising and spending time with family and resting and just trying to live doesn't leave me with a whole lot of time in the day to work on videos. Now, I know that all sounds super negative and depressing, but I assure you, I am going to continue to bring you guys the best Carnivores content on YouTube for as long as I can. It's funny, you know, people always comment, I can't wait for the Steam port to come out so your channel will finally have some more stuff to talk about. And while I do appreciate the concern, I have tons of video ideas right now. I keep a huge list of all the video ideas I come up with, and as of writing this video right now, it has well over 100 ideas that I cannot wait to bring you guys. I just need the time to do so. And videos take a long time to make. From scripting and proofing and fighting writer's block to gathering footage, organizing footage, gathering images, clips, music, all before ever actually compiling them together into a video is a job and a half. Looking back on the old videos, you know, working with lame pre-installed editing software, it was easy to just slap some quick commentary over some footage. But now I feel like I can do so much more. I have done so much more. And I just can't go back to that old video making method. Sure, it was quicker that way, but I need to keep pushing myself with these videos, because you guys deserve that. You guys are the reason this happens. I owe whatever success this channel has to you guys. And because there's not that much Carnivores content on YouTube, I want to make sure you guys get the best you can from me. So, in lieu of all this, I've talked with a lot of people and thought a lot about this, and I really never wanted it to actually, you know, come to this point. But after much deliberation, I have decided to set up a Patreon account. Now, this channel is not about making money. It never has been, and it never will be. If the past 3 years haven't proven that, then I don't know what will. Passion will always be at the forefront of this channel. Plus, Carnivores is a super niche franchise, so to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly expecting to be rolling in dough here. But as I said earlier, it is getting more and more difficult to justify dedicating time to huge projects like a mod showcase. I love doing this, you guys know that. I love hanging out with you guys here, and I want to make sure we can keep doing this for a long time. Now, I know money is tight right now, that's why I have this set up. So if you don't want to support the Patreon, if you don't feel comfortable supporting, and especially if you're not able to, then please do not do so. The last thing I ever want to do is make someone feel uncomfortable or like they have to do something they don't want to. If you're not interested in donating to the Patreon, or if you don't feel comfortable doing so, that is 100% understandable. You guys don't owe me a thing. Your support by subscribing or just showing up to watch videos and leaving a comment is already more than enough. And there are plenty of other causes and charities out there in much more need of support than I am. This is just if you have the spare funding, if you want to and are able to help support the channel. If enough funding comes in through Patreon, then I won't have to pick up a second or third project at work, and can instead dedicate that time to working on videos for you guys. And rest assured, I'm not going to be going out there and buying a Lambo or anything crazy with whatever I make. This is not about getting rich, this is just my much deliberated, conflicted, last-ditch, Hail Mary attempt to keep the channel on its feet. Every cent I earned would go strictly to my survival, so I can justify spending time on videos. So if this is something you are interested in supporting, I would be just, like, incredibly grateful, and I'll leave a link to the Patreon page in the description below, and probably in most of my video descriptions from now on. And if you're not interested, no worries. As long as I can help it, my content is not going anywhere. I'm sure this announcement sounded super doomsday and gloomy, but I am going to keep making you guys the best Carnivores content I can right here. As far as rewards go, I can't promise anything too fancy right now, but if this works out, this would mean that I wouldn't have to take on so many career projects at once, and dedicate more time to bringing you guys better content here on YouTube. I honestly have, like, no idea if this will even work. Like I said earlier, Carnivores is about as niche a property as they come, so I'm remaining very realistic and level-headed about the potential prospects. But hey, you won't know until you try, right? Even without any Patreon support, thank you guys so much for all of your continued support here, for all of the likes and comments and kind and encouraging words, and for making this fun. The fact that people actually show up to watch the stuff I make means more than you know. I am eternally grateful for all of your support, and no matter what happens, I will continue to bring you guys the best Carnivores content I can, no matter how long it takes. I love doing this, I love you guys, and as long as you guys keep watching this content, I will for sure keep making it. Thanks again for watching, guys. You are all truly the best, and I will see you guys next time. Mnyama wa mtuka. Cool.